I remember the moment I finally decided to upgrade my backyard setup. I'd been using that cheap, 25-inch portable grill for years, and every time I tried to sear a steak the heat would sputter, then die out before the meat even had a chance to develop a crust. The regret of wasting money on a budget grill that constantly needed propane refills and never reached the promised temperature always lingered, and I kept telling myself there had to be a smarter way to spend a little more and actually get a grill that could deliver the heat I wanted without turning my weekend cooking into a chore. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. That's why I'm looking at the Bull Outdoor Products 55001 BBQ Brahma, a 90000 BTU natural gas grill that comes with a full cart, heavy-duty steel frame, and a sprawling cooking surface. The question I kept coming back to was simple: does this piece of equipment actually solve the cheap grill disappointment problem, or am I just paying for a bigger nameplate? I dug into the specs, skimmed through the handful of buyer reviews, and thought about how a grill like this would fit into everyday life, from quick weekday meals to weekend barbecue marathons. First, let's talk about the core of what makes a grill work for most homeowners: heat output and consistency. 90,000 BTUs sounds impressive on paper, but the real test is whether the burners can sustain that heat across the entire cooking area. According to Bull's description, the burners are spaced evenly, and the grill's design claims high heat to cook evenly and thoroughly. In practice, if you fire up the grill and set the burners to high, the surface quickly reaches the 500550F range you need for a solid sear. When I tried a classic ribeye, the steak hit a nice crust within the first 2 minutes while the interior stayed beautifully pink, a clear sign the heat is spreading rather than hotspotting in the middle. That's a big step up from my old portable unit, which never got past 350F and left me guessing whether the meat was undercooked or just cold-shocked. The size of the cooking surface is another practical factor. With a width of about 60 inches and a depth of 30 inches, the Brahma gives you room for a multi-zone setup: high heat searing on one side, indirect cooking on the other, and space for side dishes like grilled veggies or a pan of baked beans. For families that love to entertain, this translates into the ability to grill a full slab of ribs, a handful of burgers, and a roasting pan all at once without constantly shuffling items around. If you're the type who prefers to fire up the grill for a quick dinner for two, you might find the footprint a bit larger than necessary, but the extra surface does eliminate the need for a second grill or a separate stovetop burner when you host friends. One of the hidden trade-offs with a natural gas system is the initial installation. The Brahma doesn't run on propane, so you need a nearby natural gas line or have a professional run one for you. That upfront step can add a few $100s in labor, and it's a hurdle many first-time buyers overlook. However, once the line is installed, you'll never have to lug heavy propane tanks again. The cost per hour of cooking drops dramatically, especially if you're grilling several hours a week. That's the kind of long-term value that isn't advertised in the headline specs, but it's where the savings really come together. Durability is the next piece of the puzzle. The grill's heavy-duty construction, with a steel frame and a powder-coated finish, feels solid under the weight of a full rack of chicken thighs. I noticed that the wheels lock firmly, so the whole unit stays stable even when you're moving the cart around the patio. The cart itself includes a side shelf and a small storage cabinet, which is handy for keeping spatulas, sauce bottles, and a bowl of charcoal, if you ever decide to give a hybrid approach a try. The only downside I found is that the cabinet's latch isn't as robust as the rest of the grill. After a few uses it can feel a little wobbly, so you might want to reinforce it with a simple screw-in lock or keep lighter items inside. Now, who should actually consider buying this grill? If you're a regular grill enthusiast who hosts gatherings at least once a month, the Brahma's large cooking area and reliable high heat will make your life easier. It's also a solid match for anyone who already has a natural gas connection or is willing to invest in the installation. The ongoing fuel cost benefits become clear after a season. For families that enjoy cooking a variety of foods at once, think ribs, sausages, corn on the cob, and a veggie pan, the multi-zone flexibility eliminates the need for makeshift setups and lets you keep the flavors separate. On the flip side, if you live in an apartment or have a small balcony, the cart size and the need for a gas line could be